Hello, Widgets.
Oh, she's got a catchphrase, man. I don't have a catchphrase.
That's,
Yeah, so it's me and me. I get it. How many of you are seeing Jim Beaver and Rich Speight on stage together for the first time? Is it as magical as I'm sure they promoted it to be? Ditto. Thank you, and we
it's very sweet of you.
Your legend runs deep here in Kansas City. I was at a place called Missy B's last night, and the talk was all about you guys.
I don't know what that place is, and I don't trust you, so I'm going to assume that it's something dirty.
No, I mean, it's Kansas City's finest LGBTQ gay bar. And,
There you go.
One of my favorite places in Kansas City, for sure.
There you go.
Yes.
I figured it had some sort of sexual connotation. I was going to go.
No, it's LGBTBBQ.
BBQ, yes.
Sometimes I get the accent.
That is a regional joke.
Have a seat,
But I'm not going to point to the region. All right.
Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for being here. So I went on a pretty deep dive. If you guys have not checked out Kings of Con, written, directed, created.
What's that?
Yeah, Jim's not a fan of our work. Have you guys, anybody seen Kings of Con? Okay. For those who have not, Jim, I'm going to get you the laser disc, I swear. But it's a series that Rob Benedict and I created and produced and wrote and starred in, which takes place behind the scenes of fan conventions, and it is available on Amazon Prime if you haven't seen it. But it stars a lot of supernatural folks, and it's a fun sort of peek behind the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, well, there's a service called Fandango Free. You can watch it for free.
Is that really a Fandango free?
That's what I watched.
I've never heard of such a thing. It's like the movie, the same site that where you get your movie times.
Yeah, it's like it's Mr. Movie Phone. It's like, what you should watch Kings of Con, airing at 8:15, 11:15.
I did not know of this service, so you can also watch it there. Fandango free.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. There you go.
Yeah, 10 episodes, and I was watching. I was highly entertained until I realized how real it was.
Well, that's part of the fun of doing it. I mean, really, it's making fun of the actors essentially. You know, it's not. You know, I remember we were first creating the show, and we had several fans who were loyal Supernatural fans, and we'd see at conventions a lot, and they voiced their concern. They're like, "Hey, man, like, is this somehow throwing fans under the bus?" And it's the exact opposite. It's a celebration of fandom, but it's throwing the actors under the bus. Because the craziest people at the conventions are the people paid to be there, and that's present company included, by the way.
Well, I think present company was not included in the actual show.
You're too sophisticated. We can only handle so much sexy on streamer TV.
You people are deluded.
Yeah, I loved it, but I went back and realized, I think the opening line is like, man, like your TV show my TV show got canceled 5 years ago. All you do is these conventions, and it's kind of sad. And I was like, wait, my TV show got canceled 7 years ago. All I do is these conventions.
Yeah, 7 years ago is fine. 7 is fine.
7 is fine.
It's fine, and 5 is bad.
Yeah.
4? Great.
Okay, so
7?
That's like a statute of limitation.
Yeah, exactly. This is a very narrow window, and it's weird.
So I'm good.
You're fine.
That's all right. That's fantastic. Now I know Planet Comicon is the best convention I've ever been to. Are you guys able to describe in vague, or maybe not so vague terms, the worst con you've ever been to?
I'm trying to think of do you have a worst one?
They've all been. I did go to one recently where you all know what the green room is? Yeah. You know, it's where the actors go to kind of stop smiling for a few minutes and relax and kind of get away from things. I went to a con not too long ago where they sold tickets to the green room.
So anybody with enough money could have gotten in there and
yeah, so
stared at you eating.
You walked off the floor and kind of went and walked into the room and went, oh. I don't think that'll be happening anymore.
I assume some people voiced there.
Some people did.
I wasn't there for this, but Jim told me about it, and I thought, huh.
Yeah, and maybe if they had given us a cut of what they were selling the tickets for, or told us in advance it was going to happen, yeah, that was a little weird. But the con was good, and you know, I've never had a really bad one. Oh no!
There's always
What about eat his words?
This wasn't a bad one for me because I'm lazy, but Mark Shepard and I did a con that they forgot to advertise. And Mark Shepard and I, and Carrie Elways, and Lou Ferrigno, and the mom from E.T.
D. Wallace?
D. Wallace Stone. We were pretty much the only people there.
Oh, no fans.
It was, I mean, there were some fans there who, you know, just dropped by to see what was happening in his empty building. And I had one of the largest guarantees I have ever had. And I sold 8 pictures over 3 days.
Not a testament to you, you're awesome, and any normal kind
No, you know, if they had told people I was going to be there,
Yeah.
I would have sold 6.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, let's hope that never happens again. It certainly won't happen here at Planet Comicon. They advertise really well. This is, again, one of the greatest.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. As soon as I signed on, you see like the Instagram posts, the promotion of the whole thing. For me, I honestly think this is not some bizarro suck-up, although it's also a bizarro suck-up. I don't think I've ever had, aside from maybe some sort of scheduling snafus like you were talking about, or some event that wasn't, one event within an event that wasn't super well planned or thought out, something like that, a logistics thing. I've never been to a convention that I didn't enjoy myself, and that's because you're going to an event where people are celebrating entertainment that involves you. That innately creates an upbeat environment to be a part of. And I've done enough shows and enough work that nobody saw or cared about that I appreciate it when people do. So when people show up to talk to me or anybody around me, like if it's a show and people are there not to see Rich Speight, but they're there to see Jim Beaver or Rob Benedict or Mark Pellegrino or whomever, I love that too, because that's all the same team, man. You know, it's like you are all one unit. You all worked hard to be sure that this was a successful venue, be it Supernatural, Deadwood, whatever you've been working on, The Boys. These shows that succeed and also have a bit of a fan reach into a fandom that wants to come see you live, which is not all shows. Not all shows, you can be on a very popular show, but it doesn't necessarily trigger a fan response like coming to a convention, right? So when you are a part of a show that has that kind of reach and has that kind of response with its fan base, I will never not feel fortunate to be a part of that because I've been on the other end of it where I wasn't. So I'm glad to be on this side now, so I always enjoy it.
We love you!
Thank you!
We're very, very, very lucky because of people like you, so thank you guys very much.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, like, you know, you do these things in a bubble. I'm sure you've heard this a million times from other actors, but TV is not theater. You're not getting immediate response. We're not stand-up comics. We're not seeing what's happening in real time when we perform. So the closest we get to that is coming to a convention and having people who've been affected by an episode or even angry about an episode, anything, any kind of emotional response to an episode and they want to discuss it is a great opportunity.
Not any kind of.
You know what I mean? So it's cool. It's always cool.
Yeah, speaking of the fans, let's go to some questions. We have people here, right here. So
Are there fans
see them
here?
Yeah, oh, look at, they're rushing the mic. You should see them here momentarily as well. So who's first? Step on up to the mic. Come up, hello, talk right into the microphone and
Hi.
ask your question.
I'm actually really nervous. I wrote my stuff down. This is for Jim. You've been like an iconic dad figure to me throughout Supernatural and through
Thanks
like
for
the
not
ranch.
saying granddad.
I guess. So my question for you is being like a dad figure to Jensen and basically you're like a dad figure to Sam and Dean, but Jensen and Jared. Did you have to act like a dad figure to them on set? And in your terms, who was the biggest idiot on set?
That second question will take some thought. No, I did not remotely have a paternal relationship with Jared and Jensen. Basically, I groveled in front of them because they had power to send people to the cornfield. So I spent 15 years sucking up to those guys. No, the truth is we're fellow actors. We just we played a certain relationship as characters, but that relationship was very different in real life. We were just friends and colleagues, and I don't think I ever gave them any advice. They gave me plenty. I didn't listen to it, which is why I've had a 50-year career, and theirs is... So,
Yeah, they're really struggling with
I
that.
know. I need to go back to sucking up to them. But yeah, the biggest idiot among on any given Fraturday,
Literally a Fraturday, or you're talking about late night tomfoolery?
yeah, Fraturday is what we call when you go to work at 4 p.m. on Friday and you end up working until 9 a.m. Saturday. And there's often, at least on our shows, a certain amount of alcoholic reinforcement on some people's parts. And when I think of those times, which is when I mostly think of idiots on the cast, I tend to gravitate toward Jared. But there's, Jensen makes a very, very active accessory. So, yeah. But, the strange thing about the show, and you've directed it, which I can't imagine anybody being masochist enough to do, it's astonishing that we ever got an episode filmed.
Yeah.
And yet, we made our days.
Yeah, we did.
It took 8 days to shoot an episode, just like it takes 8 days to shoot an episode of Grey's Anatomy or something.
Right.
But we had idiots on our team.
And fight sequences and location
Yeah.
shoots and night shoots and all kinds of crazy crap. It is amazing how well-oiled the machine was, in spite of some wrenches being thrown into the engine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great question. No need to be nervous. Come on up, my friend. You might need to tilt that microphone up a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Right into the microphone.
First of all, I love both of you. My sister's super jealous because she's in Phoenix and not here with me to see you two. So, Jim Beaver, I loved you in Justified and Deadwood. Great performances.
Thank you.
And of course, Supernatural, that small part you had in there.
Yeah.
But actually, question for Richard. With everybody from Supernatural seeming to be gravitating towards the boys, especially now Misha and Jared, is there anything lined up for you, or are you wanting to go to it?
I would absolutely like to do something in the boys, asterisk. Maybe not what Rob did, but I would like to do something.
After all the years of Supernatural, I thought I had seen enough of Rob.
Yeah.
now.
He does a great job, by the way, in that role. I'm not taking away from the performance he gave in that role. It's awesome. Look, The Boys would be a super fun show to be a part of in any capacity, behind the camera or in front of it. I am, as of now, as this conversation, I don't have any plans to be part of it, but hopefully that door will open and the opportunity will present itself, because it's certainly something I would take advantage of. I love the world that Crypty's created. The spin-offs are rock solid, and there's some really creative television being made by some great actors, and again, they're their own group of people, and then you bring in some of the Supernatural alums, present company included, and it's really awesome. So it's definitely a world that I would love to visit at some point if the opportunity arises.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for putting that out there. Let's manifest it.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's manifest it. Hello, your question. You look awesome.
Thank you. So my question is for either of you. If you could live out an episode as your character and actually experience what that character experienced, what episode would you want to experience?
And I get killed a lot, so I'm not sure.
We need both, brother.
Yeah.
I can think of one I wouldn't want to live out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, by all means, don't share it.
I figured it was obvious, but yeah, the only person I feel like kissing is Sheriff Mills. I could do that episode again. I could live that one out, and because that was a good kiss. She knew what she was doing.
And I do not want to be you next time you run into Kim.
Oh, she knows.
I'm going to say Tall Tales, because I don't really die in that, like that's sort of the beginning of a story for that character. So it's before we know that character is involved in the grand mythology of the story of the show. And, at that point, everybody, including myself, thought it was just a one-off character messing with the guys. And so I think there's a certain amount of frivolity that episode contains that would be fun to actually exist in for an episode before it got real. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Great question. Step on up to the mic, right into the microphone.
Hello.
Hey.
What was your guys' most memorable moment on the set of Supernatural?
Ooh, that's a lot of great moments on that show.
It's hard to.
I can think of two. I'm gonna give you time to think about it, because I can think of two. Both of them are directing answers. One was directing, so one of my favorite episodes I got to direct was Just My Imagination. And it's the one where Sully, the imaginary friend, comes back to talk to Sam. And one of my favorite scenes was the scene where Jared has to tell Sully that he's got to go back in the cage to fight Lucifer. And I loved everything about that scene. I loved the way it was written. And in this case, I put him in a small chair talking to Sully sitting up, because that episode is not the story of an imaginary friend. It's the story of a little boy who needed an imaginary friend to grow up. And Jared is that little boy. And looking down is not vulnerable, but looking up is vulnerable. So I needed to put Jared Padalecki in a position where he, as a character, had to look up. And in that scene, and I talked to Jared about that in advance, I said, in this scene, this is why I'm having you, before you walk in the room and see it, I'm going to sit you on this weird pile of stuff in a garage looking up at Nate. There's a method to this, there's a reason why. And so I explained that reason to him, and he was totally on board. And then he did the scene. And I remember getting choked up watching the scene, because it was just a beautiful piece of acting. I didn't ever have to cut away from it if I didn't want to. They could have just held on that slow push in on Jared. We did 2 takes. They were both home runs. And it was a beautiful piece of cinema on his part, acting. And Nate Torrance being a phenomenal team player as an actor. And it was wonderful to have that idea put in play and have it work as a director. And my first episode, I appreciated the trust Jared gave me to let me do that, because I really think it formed the scene beautifully. And the other scene was directing Misha's last episode in 15-18, which is also the last episode we did before the show got affected by COVID. So it was almost the last day of shooting. COVID was being discussed. It was all over. You were in that episode as well, and we were like, oh, we don't know what's going on. Other shows around us are being shut down. But we did not get shut down until after that episode was done. So it was the last pre-COVID episode of Supernatural. And that episode was so significant to, well, Supernatural in general, but to Misha, to Bob Behrens, who wrote it, and to Jensen, who was in the sequence and was part of the whole revelation. And to me as the director, I just wanted to be sure I did everything I could do to service it visually without getting in the way. But we did some interesting things, man. Like we were able to do, like Brad Creaser and I did our research to find the lens and position of the original shot that introduced Misha in season 4, and we replicated it for his last shot.
That's cool.
So the stuff's looping around him like it's a replica, you know, we're replicating that moment. And then, this is the cool thing. So, in the scene, there's supposed to be the scene was going to take place in a different room, originally in the script, and we had it planned that way, and then we realized, oh, in a previous episode, this door gets blown away, there's no door here anymore, we can't be locked in this room, we got to find a different room, so we found that the storage room, we rewrote the scene to be the storage room. We're like, oh my gosh, but that other room was a sigiled room, we need a sigil on the door here, so we got to find out, how do we put a sigil on the door? And so we talked to the art department. They're like, we're going to create a sigil. We're going to, it'll be up there, and we'll just buy the Castiel that's painted it on. The day we were shooting it, because of all the chaos and moving of locations and things, the art department forgot to make it. So we're problem solving, and Misha and Jensen and I sidebar. We're like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Dean always has a knife. We're going to have Misha pull the knife out of your pocket. We're going to have Misha cut his own hand. We're going to have Misha paint the sigil on with blood. That's what we're going to do. So you see him start it, and then we come back and it's finished. And then the idea occurred to us. In that moment, the day we're shooting it, an hour before we roll on it, that Misha will now have a hand covered in blood. And if he grabs Dean's shoulder, it will replicate the handprint from when he pulled Jensen back up. And we're like, this was meant to happen. This was fate and TV intersecting, because we now are able to honor not just Misha's first shot, we can now honor that pivotal moment in their relationship here in this sequence. And it made for a magical moment, and watching Misha and Jensen act that scene was watching great theater, and I just happened to have the best seat in the house.
Yeah!
Amazing.
Hold on, we gotta get Jim. Now Jim's got
That's right. Yeah, Jim.
Kissing Sheriff Mills. That's how you do it.
Kiss anybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. Well said. Thank you. Who's next? Coming up here. Oh, hello again. How are you? Into the microphone.
So you did get to kiss someone, Rekha Sharma. I know, because I have a tattoo in her handwriting.
That's right. That's right. I forgot about that.
Speaking of, that was my favorite episode. I just wanted to know any fun stories from that episode in particular, and follow up. Not your first time in Kansas City. You filmed 3 Blind Saints around
Correct.
here.
Yeah.
Any stories from that, from around the city or anything?
Well, I'll answer that. The Hammer of the Gods was a super fun episode, and it was during the Olympics in Vancouver. And we were one of the only shows that didn't shut down during the Olympics in Vancouver. So I got to watch the guys run the torch past the apartment building, and it was really cool. It was cool to be there. And they were all, during all of that heavy lifting and heavy acting in that scene, everybody was back watching the Olympics by the monitor. No one was paying attention. And I made one error. Now, there was a time, a lot of people in this room of a certain age won't know this, and this may shock a lot of people, but there was a time before smartphones.
Yeah.
Let that soak in. Where if you wanted a camera, or you wanted a picture of something, you used with
There was a time before phone.
Yeah. I don't know. You're crazy.
Crazy talk.
But so I had a camera on set, and I made the mistake of giving it to somebody to hold while we shot our scenes. And it was a digital camera, and I ended up with just nothing unholy, nothing filthy, nothing cancelable, because Jared wasn't working that day. But I got a lot of photos of a lot of crap that I didn't ask for. And just a little trivia is the picture of Jensen that Jensen took of himself with my camera that day is still my contact photo for Jensen now. And in terms of Three Blind Saints here, man, I was super fun. We shot in Lee Summit, Missouri. It was a super fun show, an adorable town, and I just did my best to hit as many barbecue joints. I know that's a cliche, but I mean, you guys have unbelievable food here. Yeah. And I just did my best to hit as many joints as I could during that time. And so that was super, super memorable. Aside from how pretty that town was and how cute it was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
LC's.
All right, come on up to the mic, my friend.
I don't know if they're going to be open or not.
Hi, my name is Danae. My question is actually for Rich, and I want to know, I'm sorry, Jim, but since April Fool's is on a Tuesday, do you have anything planned for the J2? Are you sharing that?
Do I plan to April Fool's Misha?
Yeah, well, it's
I won't be anywhere near Misha on April Fool's Day, unfortunately. But
long distance works.
no, I don't really. No, is the answer. There's your short answer. I don't really have
You
anything
still have time.
in my. There is time, and yes, I never really think about April Fools in terms of actually fooling people. I don't know. Have you ever done an April Fool's prank on somebody?
Well, on the world, I did, oh God, what was it? I put up a fake Variety news story on Facebook about a sequel to, oh God, what was the movie? It was supposed to be an announcement of a sequel to Cape Fear with Charlie Sheen in the Robert De Niro part, and it just went on, and every paragraph was more and more outrageously absurd. And I put together a poster to go with it, and I said it so that the little circle in the R on Cape Fear circled Charlie Sheen's nipple. It was gross, but it was also, could this be real?
Enough to get people thinking.
And I like doing stuff like that.
So I guess maybe he's the one you should watch out for.
But I'm not leaving my house to prank somebody.
Misha shows up. You know what I'm saying?
If he shows up at my house, but you know, it's 18 years now and he hasn't. So.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, and look out for Charlie Sheen's nipple, everybody.
Thanks for both of you coming to Kansas City.
So thrilled to be here. So glad we got asked.
I've got two questions if I can get away with it.
Yep.
My first one is, do you guys have any funniest story that comes to mind about a crew member instead of a fellow cast member?
Yeah, I got one. Directing an episode called Optimism. And apparently this was something that they had done a lot during the life of the show, but I had not been there for it. It was Shorts Day. So that Brad Creaser and everybody in the crew wore Daisy Dukes to work. Now luckily I was not informed, so I didn't have to accept.
Luckily I wasn't there.
You do. It was brutal. And there's an actress who's now on Gen V, her name's Maddie Phillips. But Maddie Phillips was her first day at the set of Supernatural. And that poor girl walks onto a crew of men all wearing Daisy Dukes. And acting like nothing's wrong. It's like, here we go. Here's your, we're in the light here, throwing some cable down, and she's like, what have I walked into? I'm so sorry, I had no idea. So that's pretty hilarious. We have a group photo of that floating around out there somewhere. Jimmy?
I'm trying to think. I mean, we had so much fun and so many funny things happen, but specifically to a crew person, I'm having a hard time coming up with something. I'll think of something at 3 o'clock in the morning, but...
we'll be back then. We'll come back.
Yeah, be back here.
You guys just wait. I'm sorry I don't have anything for you, but it'll come to me.
That's okay. My second question is for you specifically. Do you have a favorite memory from working on Crimson Peak?
Oh my. I had so much fun on that movie. As those of you who've seen it know, I got a very bad headache from it. But oh my gosh, the memories of that are so extraordinary. Working with Tom Hiddleston was one of the great joys of my life. I love Jessica and Mia and Charlie, but I spent a lot of time with Tom just talking Shakespeare and having the time of my life. Probably the best experience I had associated with it was before we started shooting. I went up to Toronto this was some time before we actually started shooting. I had to go up and do a body mold. And Guillermo del Toro took the cast and some of the producers and staff to dinner this one night. And you have to understand that in the main cast of Crimson Peak, I was the only person I never heard of. I mean, this is, Jessica Chastain and Tom Hiddleston, everybody was a real big name, and then there was me. And I kind of had not an equal part, but a really substantial role in the movie. And we were at this dinner, and I was talking to one of the producers and the costume designer, and out of the corner of my ear, I think Jessica ask Guillermo, essentially, who's this guy? And now I'm not paying any attention to who I'm talking to, because I hear Guillermo telling them that, asking them if they had seen Deadwood. And they were all saying, no, I haven't seen it. And he said, you've got to see it. You've got to see it. It's one of the greatest shows ever made. But I saw him on that, and I wrote this part for him. And I didn't know that. And when I got that movie, I had figured, because they just called up and said, do you want to be in Guillermo del Toro's next movie? And I went, what? And out of that, my next line became the title for my autobiography, if I ever write it. How do they know who I am? And so I was dumbstruck enough to be cast, and I figured it was because Guillermo, he's probably a Supernatural fan. But no, he'd seen me on Deadwood and decided that I had the right whatever for the guy in Crimson Peak. So that was one of the high points of my life, overhearing that conversation.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, I have to say, if you guys haven't seen Deadwood, it's a phenomenal, I came to it late, it was around for a while, and then I watched it, and it is an unbelievable show. And you're phenomenal in it. Tim Allinson's phenomenal in it. You know, the people that we know from the show, but the whole cast is unbelievable. It's such a great show. So if you haven't seen it, put that at the top of your list.
Yeah, grab HBO Max, watch Deadwood. Totally worth it. Totally worth it. Your question, right into the microphone, my friend.
All right, so Supernatural has been a pretty big part of my life. My wife, whenever we first met each other, she showed me basically the highlight reel of all of the Supernatural, big events, and I'm like, whoa, well, let's watch the whole thing from the beginning. I don't want to skip around. So we started watching it as friends, and we finished watching it as engaged. So, made a big impact in our lives. My wife could not be here, but she had a question about Gabriel, or the trickster. Whenever you first appear in season 2, it's just as the trickster. And at the end of the episode, you essentially come back to life, but there was no concept of angels until 2 seasons later. So, was that always the plan for you to actually be Gabriel in disguise, or were you just cast as another monster, basically, and then just basically got upgraded to Gabriel?
It was that. It's the latter. I was hired to do 1 episode of the show. That was the episode, and they left the door open, obviously, where, Trickster lives, doesn't get stabbed, fools the guys. But there was never a conversation about coming back. There was never a plan to come back. And in fact, I have since, so I host a rewatch podcast with Rob Benedict called Supernatural Then and Now. And if you haven't heard it, it's a great podcast. We go episode by episode and we talk about everything. And we just started season 7. And we've had Jim on, we've had Jared, Jensen, Misha, Eric Kripke, a slew of crew members and writers, and it's a really interesting way to rewatch the show if you're already a fan, and it's a great way to be introduced to the show if you're starting it. That said, I asked that question because I wanted to understand so many characters. I mean, I could point to any of the characters you came to love, including Misha, that weren't Jared Jensen and Jeffrey Dean Morgan. You wondered, was this a plan, or did this sort of just happen? And almost to a character, it just sort of happened. They had grand ideas of what the story would be. So when they got to, Kripke knew that angels were coming in season 5, or he knew that his big arc, and then he was going to introduce angels. I think he decided that in season 3 or 4, whatever it was. But then they would kind of go, hey, you know what? That character really worked. Now we can peel back a different layer, and now we can reverse engineer the fact that that character was there and now that character is something else. We just didn't know it then. So they had very clever ways of making you ask that question, because they did a good job of creating characters that could have been pre-thought and that far ahead, or not. And largely it was not. Largely it was Chuck was a prophet and Gabriel was a janitor, the trickster was a janitor messing with people and then would hop around and mess with somebody else somewhere else. Becoming part of the mythology of the show was an idea they had when they were developing the mythology of the show. And like, ooh, wouldn't it be cool if? And next thing you know, you're doing something else on the show. It was actually kind of an interesting way. I'm sure it was fun for them as writers, knowing that they had this sort of blank slate of really great guest stars that they could tap into to go, everybody loved Sebastian Roche, let's get Balthazar back in here. Let's figure out ways to utilize these characters. We had them as one thing, but we can make them something else. And we'll keep utilizing them, and they will become useful tools in the telling of a grander story. So it's cool to have benefited from that as well as an actor.
Hello.
Hi.
I am a confectionery artist, so I work with candies. If your characters from Supernatural were candies, what candy would they be?
Snickerdoodle. Jim?
Sour ball.
Before we go, what are you guys working on right now? you to know about your involved with the margarita brands.
That's my wife. My wife runs a margarita company. She has a margarita called Elmar, which is a ready-to-drink margarita that can be found on, if it's not for sale in your state, then online at enjoyelmar.com. It's fantastic. I would endorse it anyway because it's my wife's, but it's actually really, really good. So.
Yeah, and the merch, the hats are awesome.
The hats are cool. Yeah, they make good merch.
And you have a band, correct? Dick Jr. and the Volunteers.
I have a band called Dick Jr. and the Volunteers, a country band. We're going to we have 2 upcoming shows. One's been announced, which is Nashville, Tennessee. It's in October, but we're planning it to be in conjunction with the Supernatural convention that happens there. So we'll play October 30th in Nashville, Tennessee, and then I don't even know if this is official, but I think we're going to play New York in May. So follow me on social media to find out when Dick Jr. and the Volunteers are playing their next shows.
Amazing. And are you working on anything?
I'm getting ready to go back to the boys.
Amazing. Look for that soon.
And there's, I'm supposed to do a Western in Mexico this summer. We shall see.
Amazing. You guys will be at your tables all weekend, so...
Be at our tables all weekend.
We will.
And by the way, you're just coming up to say hi. Come up and say hi, man.
Yeah, please.
Great seeing all of you.
Yeah, or buy something. That's not bad either. But
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Gentlemen, thank you. Gentlemen, thank you for being awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for answering. Thank you guys for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Jim